What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another review. I just want to apologize for my lack of videos over the last week. I've been in Atlanta for my job, so haven't been able to get out to the theater, but I just got back home just in time to catch an early screening of The Accountant 2. I don't think this movie comes out till April 25th, but my theater was doing an early screening, so I got to watch it yesterday. So let's talk about this movie. The Accountant 2 is a sequel to the movie The Accountant, and once again we follow the accountant, Christian Wolff, played by Ben Affleck, as he teams up with his estranged brother, played by Jon Bernthal, as they track down a group of mysterious assassins. This film is directed by Gavin O'Connor, who's a director that's made a couple movies that I really like, and one in particular being Warrior. This is an excellent, excellent film. It's a sports movie about two estranged brothers that end up having to fight each other in this UFC battle, and ironically enough, The Accountant 2 is also about two estranged brothers that are not close, but they're trying to come closer together through this job that they are doing. And I think that's where The Accountant 2 shines the most. When these two brothers are going at it, you can tell that they don't really like each other, but they also really do respect each other, and they love each other, and they want to be close, but just because of their lines of work, they are not. And when they finally do have a chance to do a job together, or I guess are kind of forced to do a job together, they each begin to understand each other's lifestyles, and they become closer because of it. Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal are both very good in the film. Jon Bernthal plays the character that he plays in every single movie that he's in, the hard-nosed grunt brother that kills everybody and doesn't have any feelings, whatever. He plays the same character in every movie, but it works well. And Ben Affleck, once again, reprising the role of Christian Wolff, the accountant assassin with this condition that he kind of has going on that makes his job a little bit interesting and gives his character a little more depth. Where The Accountant 2 runs into problems, for me at least, is in its plot. It's very convoluted, it has a lot going on, and at times it can feel super messy because there's just so many different things happening and you're not quite getting all the information you need. And the character that this film chooses to focus a lot on is this woman whose husband was killed and child is missing, and they're trying to find the child, but her story is just not that interesting, and I didn't care for it all that much. The thing that made the first Accountant pretty good, in my opinion, was that we were discovering Christian Wolff's backstory, Ben Affleck's character's backstory. You got to see how somebody with his condition could operate in the kind of field that he's working in. Unfortunately, the problem with telling a sequel to that story is we already know his backstory, and that was the most interesting part of the first film. So now that we know everything, you obviously don't have to tell that story again. You have to find a different story to tell. And the different story that they decided to tell was not that interesting. In The Accountant 2, they clearly try to go bigger and better, and it falls flat because of it. At least for me, I've always enjoyed a more contained story, something that's more tight, and The Accountant 2 gets a little too larger than life for me. General audiences are probably going to enjoy this movie a little bit more than I did. There's a lot of action, there's a lot of comedy, but for me, the plot really dragged this movie down. It's still enjoyable for the most part, and it's not a terrible film. It's competent enough. You can tell that the script writers in particular know the beats of making a good story. They know what has to happen, and they're able to make things come full circle, but unfortunately in this film, it feels forced. Nothing happens naturally. It doesn't feel like a story that's unfolding naturally. It feels like the characters are doing things, and things are happening because it's just written that way in the script. And that, for me, was a little unfortunate. But it's still a completely fine time in the theaters, and I think general audiences are going to find enjoyment in this film because the first one is fairly good. But for me, I'm going to give The Accountant 2 a 3 out of 5. If you've seen the first one and you're bored on a Tuesday, maybe go ahead and see it during the $5 early special hours, but I don't think it's worth rushing out in the theater to see the first week that it comes out. So when The Accountant 2 does officially release, if you guys go see it, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see y'all in the next review.